Vikir stared back at Dolores, his red eyes wide with surprise. Dolores, blushing but determined, began to speak, telling Vikir that there was something she needed to confess to him. Just as she was about to continue, Vikir suddenly cut her off, asking her to wait a moment. Before she could react, Vikir closed the distance between them and told her to please stay still, which startled her. Now standing face to face, Dolores's heart began to pound in her chest as she blushed, wondering why he was so close when she hadn't even said anything yet. His hand moved, and he gently patted her on the head. Confused but flustered, Dolores closed her eyes, wondering what he was doing. The real reason for his action was then revealed. As Vikir pulled his hand away, he was holding the pendant de Carabia, with the terrified little spider clinging to it. Both were sweating, having been caught hiding in Dolores's hair. The mood turned menacing as Vikir glared down at his two demonic items, furiously thinking what they were doing there and silently cursing de Carabia. The little spider, shaking in fear, tried to explain that it was just sightseeing with the perverted spider, trying to blame de Carabia. Vikir's expression grew even darker as he made a silent, chilling promise to deal with them both once they were back in his room. Unaware of this silent drama, Dolores saw Vikir's dark expression and quietly called out his name. Vikir quickly hid the pendant and spider behind his back and turned to her with a neutral expression. He explained that there was a bug on her head and he was just removing it, apologizing if he made her uncomfortable. A flustered Dolores touched her hair and told him it was okay, thanking him before trying to remember what she was about to say. After Vikir asked what she wanted to say, Dolores's courage completely disappeared, and she blushed intensely. Panicking, she threw her hands up and insisted it was nothing strange. Internally scolding herself for almost confessing her feelings, she quickly changed the subject, asking if he was interested in the mock investment tournament. Vikir calmly asked if she meant the upcoming competition. Still flustered, Dolores confirmed that she, Piggy, and Sinclair had formed a club to participate and timidly invited him to join. However, Vikir politely declined. He explained that, besides his newspaper duties, he simply didn't have time for other club activities. Dolores was visibly disappointed. Saying he had to leave, Vikir turned and began to walk away, still holding the troublesome pendant and spider behind his back. Dolores tried to act cheerful, waving goodbye and telling him to take care. They began to walk in opposite directions. Just as they were about to part, Vikir called out to her, making her stop in surprise. He turned back slightly and wished her good luck in the competition. This unexpected encouragement caught Dolores completely off guard, and she blushed even more deeply, stammering a quiet thank you as she touched her hair in a flustered but happy way. The story jumps forward 2 weeks. In the grand courtyard of a building, Dolores, Piggy, and Sinclair are standing in a room, completely surrounded by huge stacks of shining gold coins. They are speechless, shocked, and in disbelief. Piggy exclaims that it's the first time he has ever seen so much money and praises Dolores, wondering how she achieved this in such a short time. Dolores herself is just as stunned, thinking that she never imagined the money-making method taught to her by the Night Hound would be this successful. The scene then flashes back 2 weeks, showing the secret meeting between Dolores and the Night Hound. He explained his plan to her. The first step was to select 960 gullible investors. The second step was to divide that group in half. To the first 480 people, they would send a prediction that a specific investment would rise. To the other 480, they would send the opposite prediction. The third step was a process of elimination. As one prediction would be correct, they were to take the group that received the correct information and repeat the process, split them, send conflicting predictions, and get rid of the group that received the wrong one. They were to continue this for 5 days until only a small group of 30 people remained. The Night Hound explained that those who got the wrong predictions would lose faith, leaving only a core group of believers. To these final 30 people, it would seem as if the Oracle Club's predictions were perfect. He predicted that once this was done, they wouldn't even have to look for investors. Word of their perfect track record would spread, and people would come to them, begging to have their money invested, which is exactly what happened. The Night Hound's final instruction was for Dolores to gather all the money from these investors, along with the seed money he had provided, and invest every last coin into the Sindai Wendy merchant group. At the time, Dolores was deeply concerned, questioning the idea of putting such a huge sum into a single venture. She pointed out the immense risk, worrying that if the investment failed, the financial losses would be huge and the investors would turn against them. The scene returns to the flashback, where the Night Hound confidently addressed Dolores's concerns. With his red eyes glowing, he assured her that he personally vouched for the business skills of the person in charge of the Sindai Wendy merchant group. He predicted that the investment would yield an unbelievable amount of profit. Back in the present day, Dolores stood in stunned silence, still trying to process the incredible outcome of his plan. While she was lost in thought, Piggy and Sinclair were gleefully playing in the mountains of gold, making money angels. Watching them, Dolores couldn't help but wonder about the true extent of the Night Hound's mysterious abilities. Later that night, under a full moon, Dolores, now dressed in a simple nightgown, cautiously opened a window on a high rooftop. Peeking out, she saw the person she was waiting for and confirmed that the Night Hound had arrived for their meeting. He stood against the moon, saying he was a little late. Dolores smiled, explaining that she was also delayed because she had to avoid being seen. They sat together on the rooftop. Dolores asked if he had any trouble finding this specific, unmarked location. The Night Hound replied that it wasn't very difficult for him. His easy answer sparked a sudden suspicion in Dolores's mind. She wondered how he could have known the exact meeting spot unless he was somehow connected to the academy. Secretly, she pulled out a small, ornate item, the Mirror of Truth, which could reveal the true face of anyone reflected in it. For a moment, she considered using it to uncover his identity. However, she quickly decided against it. She resolved to trust him, believing that he would eventually tell her who he was when he was ready. With that thought, she put the mirror away. Sitting on the rooftop, the Night Hound got straight to business, asking Dolores about the outcome of their investment plan. Dolores reported with great excitement that it had been a massive success. She expressed her amazement, admitting she never realized he was not only a skilled fighter but also an exceptional investor. The Night Hound stood up and looked out over the moonlit academy, declaring that only the final stage remained before their decisive battle. Dolores, still seated, asked what he meant by the final stage. He explained that to attack the secretly operating bourgeois family, they would need to recruit an insider, someone who could be their key to unlocking the family's secrets. The person they needed, he specified, had to be someone in a key position within the family, but also against the current family head, Bartholomew. Dolores was skeptical, pointing out that anyone in such a high position would likely be treated very well, and would have no reason to be an enemy of the family head. She questioned if such a person even existed. In response, the Night Hound simply handed her a rolled-up newspaper. As they both looked at it, Dolores noted that it was a very old issue of a financial paper. She began to read an article about the succession conflict within the bourgeois family. The article stated that the most likely successor at the time was the eldest son, Bartholomew. As she continued reading, her eyes widened in surprise as she came across another name. The Night Hound explained that this person was a silver medalist in the family's game of succession. He had tried for the position of family head but ultimately lost. This person was the second son, Damien de Bourgeois, who currently served as the director of the Imperial Mint. The Night Hound reasoned that while Damien's political defeat had weakened his influence within the family, his current position was more than enough to make him a powerful insider. Upon hearing the name, Dolores recognized him, explaining that he was the one who had overseen the bourgeois family's quest during the second round of the University League. She was shocked to learn he had once fought his brother for control of the family. Finally, she turned to the Night Hound and asked the most important question. How were they going to make contact with Director Damien? The scene shifts to a grand celebration taking place in the city at night, with a spectacular fireworks display lighting up the sky. Inside a lavishly decorated hall, guests are arriving in elegant attire. The sound of their formal shoes echoes on the polished floor as wine glasses clink together in cheerful toasts. The grand ballroom is filled with high society guests mingling and enjoying the extravagant feast. Leaning against a golden railing and observing the lively event is Dolores. She is dressed beautifully in a light blue ball gown, her hair styled up, and a rose choker around her neck. She looks slightly flushed and overwhelmed as she takes in the bustling scene, acknowledging to herself that she has arrived at the party. This is the end of the video. If you guys want to see the next part, then don't forget to subscribe and like the video.